Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi on this special episode of Mastering Success with Napoleon Hill's teachings. This beautiful man has really created success in many people around the world. His teachings and his wisdom has been shared with Henry Ford, so many other important people around the world. I remember Thomas Edison, the Rockefellers. There's so many people that have truly, taken his teachings and have changed their lives because of it. And today's episode is about bringing some of these teachings to you so that hopefully you can find your purpose and be happier in life, because I truly believe that all of us want more. We want to do more with life. We want to have more and be more. And it really comes down to how are we managing our mind? So today's episode is just really learning what's going on with our mind. How do we hone in on the talents that we hold in our mind and bring them out to the world? Because I love one of his quotes that are means a lot to me, even as a teacher. If you can hold it in your mind, you can see it in your hand. And I truly believe that is the truth. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my special guests from my colleagues from Napoleon Hill Institute to really share with us the research and the secrets of Napoleon Hill that he has done with many people around the world. And Kathleen, Diana, and Kathy. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you guys here.
Hello, thanks for having us.
I am truly thrilled to share Napoleon Hill's teachings and wisdom. He wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, and rich has many meanings to everyone, and it could be rich in your health, in your job, in your relationships. But most of all, we have to feel rich within us first before we can actually see it. So this episode is really helping people to hone in on how do we achieve success. And I'm going to just bring on the definition of success. That I find that it works for everyone, right? Success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. And do we have an aim and do we have a purpose is really the question that we need to ask ourselves. Because once we know what our definition of purpose is, then we know what direction our life is heading towards, right? It's like a map. So I'm going to bring it to Kathy. And Kathy, can we talk about a little bit of one of his principles, definitions of purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. So definiteness of purpose, it's really going after something specific. It's a specific objective. So a lot of times we think of it as a goal. Earl Nightingale talked about a goal being a worthy ideal, the successive realization of a worthy ideal. And one way that we realize that, so success is more of an unfolding. One way we realize the goal, it's not the goal that we want to get to. It's really who we become in the process. But we have to have an aiming point. I think that's how the mind works. So the mind works, we have a homing device. When we set a GPS to go from New York to Los Angeles, that GPS knows that it's going to end up in Los Angeles. It might take a couple of different routes or a number of routes, But that's the same way that our mind works, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And
so having that definiteness of purpose gives us some clarity as we're taking action toward that goal. It gives us clarity because we're going after something specific.
absolutely. And Diane?
Oh, I love the
Diane, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I love the GPS comparison because that's exactly how I love to describe it. And I love the fact that you mentioned different ways to get to it, but something that is very dear to my heart and the explanation of how Napoleon Hill does explain what is that desire, what is that definiteness of purpose. It is to some degree a very healthy obsession with your goal, with your end goal. What are you going to achieve? And I absolutely love it because that word obsession in my vocabulary has a very positive connotation. And for me, that's exactly how it is. Anytime when I can reflect on my life, any type of task, any type of like a big goal, big audacious goal, even, I was a little obsessed by it. I was a little bit
Right.
obsessed by, I'm going to achieve this. And by all means, it happened. But there was so much emotion connected to that burning desire that it actually happened. And other times when I thought that I was really committed to this goal, I really wasn't. There was not emotional connection, and unfortunately, it didn't come to fruition. And I'm okay with that because now I'm learning and realizing some things mean more to me, and I put more effort and more emphasis and more feelings into it, and that's what translate into that burning desire, and they really do come true. So I feel I'm very hopeful, and I can rest assured that I just need to recognize that how much does this mean to me personally? And if I want to go for it, and if I'm going for it, I have to go full on, complete obsession, and I will make.
Absolutely. And I definitely know that you just said the magic word, like you have to feel it, right? You have to feel your end goal. And Kathleen, what is your point on deafness of purpose?
Yeah, so we're all one mind here because obviously we all have the same pathway that we're taking in our thought process on all of the Napoleon Hill information. But one of the things that I had written down for today that Napoleon Hill has in his book is that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. So once we find that definiteness of purpose, that burning desire, as Diana said, we're all in. I mean, it's like our passion. It becomes like an obsession, but it's also like a passion. And you talk to people who do things that they love for a living, and they always say, I don't work. I just do what I love every day. And there's
Right.
something to be said for that. I mean, when it's your passion, when you like have a drive that you want it part of your being every day, like you get up in the morning and you're ready to take it on, there's something to be said for that. I mean, that is your passion. That is your definiteness of purpose. No matter what your end goal is, like we always have that, what we call a type C goal, right? The big goal. If
Right.
it's owning a yacht and having $3 million sitting beside us on that yacht, whatever that end goal is, maybe it's a cabin. Maybe you just want a cabin for your family to go enjoy every weekend. Everybody's end goal is different. Everyone's definition of success is different. But whatever that is and whatever your passion is for that definiteness of purpose, you're going to achieve it.
Absolutely. And you know, that goes into, I believe there's 3 Ds that we must incorporate when we have a deafness of purpose, right? We need to make a decision, and you mentioned it before. You need to have a desire, and you need to have determination, or you need to persevere. And Napoleon Hill says it well, because a decision, once you make a decision, we open up the doors to all possibilities, right? To people that we need, resources that we need, but nothing happens without first making that decision. And having that desire, like you mentioned, it's got to be a burning desire above all. And I will say from my own experience, I know I have a burning desire to share this information. Why? Because it's been around for a long time. And when we find out, you know, the powers within, what we can do with not just our uh, 5 senses, right? We have to tap into what we call the higher faculties, right? Intuition, um, memory, intuition, will,
Reason.
perception, and I'm missing one more.
Imagination.
Imagination. That's
Mhm.
correct. So when we tap into those higher faculties, now we can really see our goal coming to life, because everything was created first in the mind and then in reality, right? And so it was created twice. And I say this works with everything, not just material items, but even even what we like, our health. Like, I needed to see myself in my mind being healthy when I wasn't, before I actually achieved health. And so my mentor said, we have the secret to really cure the mind, cure the cancer of the mind, because the mind truly controls our body. And I have this because I want to talk about this a little bit. We don't have a picture of the mind. So our late mentor, Bob Proctor, said, here's a beautiful picture of the mind, right? And these are our five senses: touch, hear, see, taste, and
Smell.
no,
Smell.
see, I'm losing it, right? So, and then the top part is your conscious mind, and the bottom part is your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is where the feelings are, your beliefs are, your habits are. So, until we kind of like go into this part of the mind, even though we may have a goal, it's going to be hard to achieve. This is where we tap into, we have obstacles, right? Because we're picking up the habits. So, working from the subconscious mind and learning about how we can do that is truly the key to helping us achieve our goals. Because we, our emotions and our feelings truly guide our decisions in life, right? When we like something, we're going to go out and buy it because we're emotionally attached to it. And the same thing goes, like, if we don't like something and we become emotionally attached to that, you're going to also have that as well. So I want to go into, Kathy, can you help, tell us a little bit about the decision, the desire, and determination when you have a goal, and how
Yeah,
we can.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Giovanna. One of the things that came to mind is the difference between desire and a wish or a hope, right? If we can want something, but if it's only a wish or a hope, it's only going to get us so far. So that desire has to be the burning desire. And the burn behind the desire is actually the emotion. So when you get obsessed with the goal, think about Steve Jobs when he first created the iPhone. He was absolutely obsessed. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but he was obsessed. Napoleon Hill was obsessed with creating and codifying the laws of success. So at some point, you have the idea, you get emotionally involved with that idea, and then you decide to take action. And when you decide to take action, it's the determination and the persistence that carries you through, because you're going to have obstacles along the way. It's not going to be a straight path, as we know, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think desire and decision, they do go hand in hand, but it really starts with that burning desire. We have to really want it, whether it's a house, like Kathleen was saying, whether it's a certain amount of money or a certain lifestyle. You have to absolutely fall in love with that idea in order to get that burning desire to propel you and actually cause you to go into action. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Diana?
I love that explanation. Thank you, Kathy. All three words obviously resonate with me, but one that really touches my heart is decision. As a matter of fact, when Gigi asked us to go ahead and put something under your name, I put an agent of change, because that I really truly believe that's what I am. So decision making and big decision making, I'm going to say, comes kind of easy to me. Maybe it's just from the need when I decided when I was 22 to move all the way across the world and come and live in the United States, or start the business that I still have and help other people start businesses. I feel like that's my superpower. But those are some of my very, in my opinion, very big decisions that I'm still going and still making. So for some people, it comes easy. And for some of us, it might take a little longer, and that's totally fine. But once we decide, know that there are tools out there that you can yourself use in order to make them into a burning desire, make them, and be determined to see them through, and then reap that success. So that's what it is for me.
So good. Yeah.
Thank you, Diana. And Kathleen?
Well, again, piggybacking off you guys, because we obviously are all on the same mindset, right? A positive mental attitude is what gets us there. And I like the way that the 3 words are put into the sentence, with decision being first, obviously, because you have to make a decision to do whatever it is with the desire or the burning desire that you have. And then you have to stay determined or persistent to get to where you want to go. But decision is so important. There's so many people that, I mean, even when it comes down to like buying a car, right? They go out and they start looking at cars and they just can't make a decision because some past belief is blocking them from just pulling the trigger. Whatever it is it the car payment? Is it they're not finding the right color? Whatever it is, they can't pull the trigger to make that decision and say, yeah, I want a new car. And it holds people back. Like they're in limbo. They can't move forward when they're being held in place. So the way that those 3 words are put in, for us today, being decision being first, I just think is so important, and ending with persistence or determination, just so you keep moving forward. Forward motion always gets us to where we want to end up.
Absolutely. And I'm going to share this with you guys. I had made a decision when I went from corporate America to teaching. And I made a decision that no matter what, I was going to become a teacher. So, of course, I had to persevere and go working my regular job and go to school at night until I got the degree. I finally got the degree. I was so ecstatic. And everyone tells me, there's teachers are getting fired left and right. There's no jobs for teachers. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like, I have my own talent. So I'm thinking, how can I be competitive in this market, right? So I came up with an idea, because everything starts with an idea, right? And I said, I'm going to create a portfolio of when I go to meet with the principal to show them my work, because I need to be different. So I created an electronic portfolio, right? So here's a binder, a leather binder that I literally put in a, what do you call it? A picture frame, electronic picture frame in it. So I can push play and I can show them my work. I also patent the idea, thinking like, this is going to be it. Like, I'm going to go for it. What happened was I listened to everyone else outside of me why this was not going to work. Even though I patented, even though I had this burning desire to use this, and not only for myself, but to give it to anyone who wanted to show their portfolio. And the idea was killed, right? Because I did not follow my own intuition, my own feelings about, taking this to the next level.
That's such a great point. Yeah. I think Kathleen, what you said also is a very good point. And that is that people stay stuck because they're thinking from the past, and that anchors them energetically. It anchors them in the past. So I would say 99% of people that are stuck are not living in the now. And when we have a burning desire, when we make a decision, this is why even Napoleon Hill says, when you make a decision and you're really going for something, be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you tell. Because remember, it's not that people are bad and they don't want you to achieve what you want to achieve, but they're only coming from their level of awareness. So they don't have the burning desire, right? You might have the burning desire.
Right.
So it's not that they're trying to, sidetrack you from what you want to accomplish. But even like for us, the 4 of us working together on this, meeting through the Napoleon Hill Institute, getting deep into his work and really bringing this to life and helping people to understand that, hey, the success code is here. We have the success code, right? And it starts with that burning desire and the decision.
And making a decision. Absolutely. So one of the most greatest principle that he talks about, which again is dear to my heart because I needed to use this many times in my life, is faith, right? Having faith. But faith is an emotion. So I just want to bring up how does faith, how do you see faith playing a role in achieving success in the way Napoleon Hill has, taught us in his teachings? And I know a lot of people say I'm a positive thinker, I think positive, but there's so much more, to this emotion of faith that comes within, and we're tested all the time. I know I was tested a few times, even with my health, just holding on to the faith that everything is going to be okay, and making a decision with my career. I applied, and again, let's also know that Napoleon Hill says we need to apply the faith in order to really achieve what we want to achieve. We're going to take a small break, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to be talking about faith. And here's a commercial from our sponsor, E360 TV. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Oh, let me put it back on. So let's talk about, Kathy, about faith and what we learned on with Napoleon Hill's teachings regarding how faith really moves mountain when we use it and apply it to our goals.
Yeah, he talks a lot about faith in action, which he terms the applied faith. For me, I look at faith really through the scripture. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. So when you think of substance like a book or a computer or a light, or it's a physical thing, I think our faith can help to bring things that are not in our physical world yet. It can help bring them to life through that idea and that self-belief. That's one of the reasons why, to me, it's so important to be around people that believe in you, that can support you and encourage you, to be around like-minded people that you have in your external environment, because those people are the ones that are going to support you. When you don't believe in yourself, they will believe in you for you at that time. And that's how you build faith, by going on, not only taking the action steps yourself, but going to a place where you know that you're connected to it emotionally. We talked about being in emotional harmony with what you want. That builds your faith. Taking action builds your faith, right? We can't just sit at home and think that we're going to build faith. It's only through the action that we uncover new skills and talents that we have inside of us that help us to go and grow to the next level.
Absolutely. And I know when we're stepping into something different, right? A goal, a C type goal. Well, what's going to kick in is fear, right? So we know, and we've learned that fear and faith cannot live in the same space. We have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Are we going to move forward in faith, or we're going to let the fear take over and kill our dreams?
Yeah.
So tapping into that faith is really a driver for us to really achieve anything we want in life, not just wealth, but your health, your relationships. Is having the faith over fear is essential. And
Yeah.
Diana, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kat.
I just one last point. I was going to say, I think faith is a practice. We practice building faith. We take a step. It might not work out, but we get up and we do it again. That's how we build faith in ourselves.
Absolutely. And I'll share this on a personal level. Like, I went through my cancer journey. I needed to have faith that was going to be okay. And then a few years later, and I haven't shared this with many, but I went into the hospital with a head bleed, and I was 10 days in ICU. And I had to have faith that I was going to be okay. That our late mentor Bob says our spiritual DNA is perfect. And I kept repeating that to myself 1,000 times until that day came and I left that hospital well. So it's truly applying that faith that there's so much more to life, and we all get challenged. And either we pick the fear and let it take us
Mhm.
over, or we choose the faith. So that's why this is very dear to my heart. And I truly believe, for me, faith has moved mountains. Diana?
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. I love your perspective. Uh, Mine is going to touch upon something that I really didn't realize until I read the book for the very, I think, third or fourth time. This is Think and Grow Rich book. And I believe in that book, Napoleon Hill says something about the fact that every person has faith. We all have faith.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is very strong faith. Unfortunately, unfortunately, a lot of us are using it to, oh, I have a faith that something bad is going to happen. So we have these emotions of faith already. It's not like we have to learn the faith. Faith is in us. I think we just need to redirect it from the negative to the positive. And when I read that, it was mind blowing to me. I was like, that is so true. How? And then I'm thinking to myself, how can I come from immediately my thoughts going into negative or something bad's going to happen? I'm a mom, kids go out. I'm like, they're not under my roof. Like, God forbid, right? And how do I shift that thinking? And now I try to catch myself, and I have a little mantra of like, for every bad thought, I sprinkle in 3 positive ones. So they're slowly but surely going away. But I was just really surprised of the fact that we all have faith. And when people think when they're driving to a place, oh, there'll be no parking, they already have faith in it that there will be no parking spots for them. And they're driving there and they get there and there is no parking spots. And it's still, and on the positive side, it can be just that amount of the same faith, but towards the positive outcome. And that was like really mind blowing to me when I learned it. And I was like, wow, I'm going to turn that around. I'm going to help that, just kind of that faith going into the positive.
The words that we say to each other, to ourselves, are so extremely important, and you don't realize how important it is when you kind of like see the results and you're like, well, why did this happen? Well, what were you thinking the whole time?
Yeah.
Kathleen?
Yeah, so faith is huge for all kinds of things. It's an active state of mind. It's where, like you just said, when we're telling ourselves things, I don't think people realize that you can say things out loud, but whatever you're saying to yourself inside is what your higher up is listening to as well, no matter what that higher up, universe, God, whatever you practice there. But it's so true. You have to do the work every day and stay in practice. And when Diana said that the third time she read the book, that particular part stood out to her. That's why we tell people that follow the Think and Grow Rich or Napoleon Hill itself to read the book every day, even if it's a paragraph, even if it's one chapter, just open it up, because the universe, your higher up, whatever it is telling you that day, that chapter that you open your book to is what you need to hear. And by reading the book more than once, Bob Proctor himself, our late mentor, said, for 60 some years, he read that book every day. And it's true. You every time you read it, you see something new. And he did for 60 some years. He saw something new in the book. So it's so important to like go with your faith and move forward on applying it 100%.
Of course. And I think that, we become a better version of ourselves every time we reread the book, because we are addressing it from a different level of awareness, a higher conscious awareness of what that really means to us as we apply it to our lives. So, in the traditional way of education and using our intellectual mind, read a book, get tested, and put it away, and you're done. Let's go to the next book. So these teachings are totally the opposite, because it's like, no, read it the first time, apply it, come back, read it again, and now you're seeing it with a whole different lens, which truly helps you to become the better version of yourself, because you're like, oh, that's what happened to me. Now I can connect. Steve Jobs says you can connect the dots going back, but you can't connect the dots going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about understanding the level of awareness when you apply and you use it and you come back and you become really, you reflect on, what happened, and now you understand, and now you have grown to the next level of awareness. So I love that. I know the next thing I like to talk about is We said our words, what we say to each other, to ourselves, and our thoughts and our habits and our beliefs. That in itself, to me, is truly what drives our results. So if you want to look at your results, you look at really, what actions what thoughts are you thinking of? Because a thought comes to be something. A thought creates. Everything starts with a thought in mind.
Mhm.
So what are we creating with our thoughts? And what beliefs or what habits are we feeding that thought? Is it good thoughts? Is it, good habits, bad beliefs, good beliefs? That's really what drives our results in our life. And, we have like 60,000, I think research has pointed out over 60,000 thoughts a day. So which one do we feed, the good one or the bad one, at any given point? Because whatever you put your attention to, whatever you give energy to, will grow.
Mhm.
So I know we have one of the principles that Napoleon Hill teaches is about autosuggestion, right? So I'm going to bring up a quick question on autosuggestion to change our thoughts and our habits and our beliefs. And Kathy, would you like to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a really critical component of his teachings, and that is thoughts become things. So we're always suggesting something to ourselves, whether it's positive or negative. We're always, as long as we are awake, we are suggesting something to ourselves. We have a thought. Because most of the time, unless you're in deep meditation, your mind is not at rest. So with autosuggestion, we can actually create the reality that we want by stating what we want, getting emotionally involved in what we want, making a decision to take action toward that. But it's the conversation. I think of autosuggestion as the conversation I'm having with myself in my head. So how am I talking to myself? When things don't go right, what am I saying to myself? I had a conversation with a young woman recently who is very much steeped in social media. And when I looked at her social media page, I understood why she was having such a hard time. A lot of it was negative. And when we're bathing in that negative, remember fear, I know we're not talking about fear here, but fear is contagious. So if we're thinking fearful thoughts over and over again, it's not only planting in our own garden, but it's also getting onto the people that we're around as well. So this is such a powerful concept. It's one of my favorites.
No, absolutely. And yeah, I know we didn't touch on fear, but I think and we know that many people are living fear, worry, or doubt these days. All they're seeing is bad stuff on the news. They're very concerned about the future. They're concerned about their health. And that's going to drive their results in their life. So thinking with different thoughts is really essential, and not to really make fear the dominant thoughts in their life, because otherwise they're going to feel themselves being stuck and never achieving the goals and the desires they want to achieve in life. So Diana, do you have also some?
Yes, kind of like Kathy, what she said. It's one of my favorite subjects. I really, before reading the book and becoming, ambassador for or going into mentorship with the Napoleon Hill Institute, I didn't really necessarily call it auto suggestion. Maybe it was just my desire bundled into like kind of suggestive thoughts that I had towards myself. But one incredible example of my own auto suggestion happened in the middle of COVID when I really wanted to move from my tiny 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom with my 2 kids. And I really wanted to move into this 3 bedroom place, which was one exit down from where I was living. So fairly close. I would pass by that apartment building every day on my way to work. And I would wave to it literally. And I said, I'll see you soon. On the way back, I'll see you soon. Every night, I would look at the floor plan. I would be already falling asleep and imagining how I'm going to decorate the place. Because mind you, this was a beautiful 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom balcony, very nice development, very, very nice apartment building. And it took less than 2 months to get called in the middle of COVID where you couldn't even see them. You couldn't even go in to see the units, none of that. It was just that, me pretty much on daily, nightly basis, talking, sending the positive messages to this one particular apartment, one particular floor plan. And they had like 20 plus to choose from. There's hundreds of apartments in that development. And I get that particular one. And I was so thrilled and I was so happy. And that was the first time where I very effectively used it. And now, a couple of years later, knowing, okay, that is auto suggestion. So it came to me in many different forms, in the physical form, because I actually did go see the apartment from the outside and walked the premises and saw the pool and saw the gym and kind of like just lived over there already. Like I lived in it before I was able to get, okay. And I was like, well, let's take action and let's fill out the application online and let's get in on their waiting list. And that's what happened. It materialized. It was incredible.
So I love that because you demonstrated living from the end, right?
Yes.
So you used your imagination to literally see yourself already there.
Yeah.
For it to really come to life. And
yes.
that is definitely what we use auto suggestion for. And we also, we use it to also change the habits that we have, right? Because initially we would never think to do that. And that we haven't been taught to do that in all my school years. I've never even heard of the word auto suggestion until I started studying this work. And it becomes, if you hold it in the mind long enough, it's going to take form and shape, right? And that's exactly what you did. You held the vision.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it in your imagination exactly, and you even acted on it. You felt it, waving and saying hello to that place.
It sounds woo-woo, but I really did. And as a matter of fact, I gave it to my children and I said, pick your room. I gave it to my son first choice. He picked the room that was closest to the bathroom. And then my daughter obviously got the other room. And she was also the one to ask me, well, how much is this apartment? How much are we going to pay for the rent? And how much money did you put aside already towards that goal? This is what she asked me. She was 9 at the time, 9 years old. So not only that I had faith in myself, but I also had my children had a faith in me to bring this to fruition, and I did.
Well, congratulations for sure.
Thank you.
And Kathleen?
Okay, so with auto suggestion, they say that it takes 21 days to get, like, if it's a workout or whatever you're trying to meet. So with auto suggestion, we always say to, like, if you can put it in a recording and listen to it for 21 days, especially when you go to bed, possibly with earbuds or something, and if you can, so you can really absorb it, right? Strong believer that, like, people's beliefs, past beliefs, can be a wall for them to move past. So if it's fear, if it's not believing they can be successful, whatever those past beliefs that have been embedded into them since they were a child, right? Because we pick things up when we're children and we just don't realize that they're still there. So auto suggestion is so important to, like, break those bad beliefs down so you can come up with a new story and new beliefs. I love auto suggestion. I think it's amazing. Our leader and president at Napoleon Hill, helped us with this app that she uses, and I use it, and you can record anything on it and listen to it over and over again. It's an amazing way to restructure your mind.
Absolutely. And, let's just take another round and look at habits and beliefs that really affect our goal, right? If we want to achieve something, there's many thoughts that come into our mind or habits that we must change in order to get to where we want to be. Because in the process of changing who we are, we have to build new habits and new beliefs. And it's so essential to know that the beliefs are in your subconscious mind. That's where they're held. It's almost like we say it's a computer and the software is your beliefs. And until, just like a computer, we have to change the software and update it. We need to get updated with our beliefs as well. And So can we talk about how beliefs, if they're, or habits, if they're the wrong ones, how it can really take away from our success in life?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, Judy.
Kathy, let's hold that thought. We're going to come back with it. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back with that answer. Let's see.
Thank you, Gigi.
Now, the vast majority, approximately 95% of the people of all countries, go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people. That we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone, so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
Whew. Gets me every time.
That is beautiful.
It does. It does. Yes. So, Kathy, let's jump back into like how our beliefs, our habits, really affect our results in our life. Because,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Giovanna. Gosh, there's so much I could say about this. So a belief, I think the very basics of a belief is just a thought that we think over and over again. So if I have a belief that I get up late or I'm always late to things, that's just a belief. That's something that I've told myself over and over and over again until I created that habit in my life. But a belief can be reevaluated. Bob Proctor taught me this when I was mentored by him. He said a belief can be reevaluated at any time when you have more information or when you have a new level of awareness, like we were talking about earlier. You have a higher level of awareness. You see it with a different or from a different perspective or with different perception, one of the higher mental faculties. So habits and beliefs can be changed at any time. In fact, if I say to myself, I'm a runner and I have yet to buy myself a pair of running shoes, if I create that belief, my body will soon get into action. So auto-suggestion is key. It's a key component and one of the major tools that we can use to change habits and beliefs.
And lead us to where we want to be with our goal, right? And take the actions that we want to take. And most of the
if I develop a belief that I'm a goal achiever, the likelihood of me achieving any goal is going to be so much higher than if I say I never achieve anything or never other. I don't even like to use those unpleasant terms, those negative terms. But if somebody is constantly telling themselves that they're not, or they're less than, or they don't feel good about themselves, or constantly berating, one of the things that people don't realize, self-deprecating thoughts, ideas, phrases, when we talk poorly about ourselves or anyone else, that's a form of suggestion. And when people hear it, I've had this with kids, they hear over and over a negative message that they're not anything, they're not going to amount to anything. And guess what? They get into high school and they get into trouble all the time because they've heard that message their whole lives. So it's very, very powerful. And it's something that can make it simple, but not easy to make a difference, to make a change in our lives.
I know I studied Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he says, we form our beliefs from like the age before 7 or 8 years old. And those beliefs truly guide us in making decisions in life. So if we are, scared to speak, like I was, came here from Italy, didn't know the Italian language. So everybody made fun of us when we spoke. So therefore I was scared to speak because I didn't want to get in trouble. And so growing up, I didn't want to speak. Like it was just a belief that I had to overcome to do this, what I'm doing right now,
Right.
to gain the confidence that, you know what, I can't speak and it's okay to voice my opinion. No one has to like my opinion, but it's okay for me to have a voice. And a lot of us are, for myself and my sister, I would say that we didn't have a voice growing up because we wanted to be quiet. So the beliefs truly guide our pattern in life. It becomes a habit. Don't speak, don't say anything, and we apply it to many situations in our lives. And I know what we said, that there's only two ways to change the beliefs. It's either by auto suggestion or an emotional impact. And just so that everyone relates to that, like I tried many, many times. Yes, I was a smoker, and I tried many, many times to quit, and I could not quit until I got that emotional impact with that phone call. And I never picked up another cigarette since. So the emotional impact would definitely change a belief or a habit that we have. And Diana?
Everything's in those emotions, and the stronger the emotion, the stronger the results. Faster results. And it's beautiful when the magic does happen, because it does happen and there's a ways to it. There's a method to the madness. The reason why I get touched every single time, like deep, I get like emotional about it, and when I watch the video, it's mostly that drifting part. In parts it scares me, it shocks me every time, because I'm like, am I a drifter? No, I'm not a drifter. Am I drifting in one area of my life? Oh, yes, I am a little bit. So I can't really say that I'm non-drifter. And if you don't know what we're talking about, another wonderful, beautiful book by Napoleon Hill is Outwitting the Devil. It took a while, a very long time to be published. And it is well worth reading. I think actually I would read this particular book before any other book. Well, just pick up now and read it now, because it's incredible to see, and it's true. And if you start seeing, thank you, Kathleen, if you start seeing in your own life, and you're reading the book and you start recognizing the drifters in your life, you're going to realize, as a matter of fact, they don't even have bad beliefs. They just don't have any to begin with. There's really nothing that they believe in. They don't believe in themselves. There's nothing. There's no strong emotion about who do they want to be. There's no direction. And that's what scares me. It scares me. I don't want to be that person. I don't want my children to be that person. Definitely don't want their friends to be those type of non-drifters. And mind you, I'm talking about like teenagers. So in Outwitting the Devil, it is incredible. Just lessons that you can learn from Napoleon Hill supposedly talking to the devil and talking about the drifters and how to recognize them. And then how can you recognize it in yourself and see, what is that belief that I want to form? It's okay if we never had it. It's okay if we had bad beliefs about ourselves, but how to deposit the beliefs and how can we move forward? So it's more of that shock and awe that sometimes is just like scares us, and we turn into an action, because even we can learn from diversity. We can learn from that negative feeling. It doesn't have to be elated, beautiful feeling, and it's moving you forward. Sometimes it's very negative. Sometimes maybe, Gigi, what happened to you in that call was a very negative feeling, but boy, did you get moving. And
you don't. Once you have a burning desire to achieve whatever, like I said, whatever it is. Like I knew in my life, I lost my mom at age 30, and I knew what it felt like. I'm like, no, it is not my time to go. No matter what anybody tells me, I'm not going anywhere. And I had that burning desire to stay around for my kids and my husband and my family. So, and that determination is what drives us to achieve our goals. It doesn't have to be, a sickness or illness, like you said. You can apply that to whatever you want to achieve in life, because this journey is short. It's not very long. And, you want to have fun. You don't want to live in fear, worry, and doubt, and not having any direction or purpose in life. right? And you want to take control of your habits and your beliefs, and you want to be in charge. I know I learned, like, if you didn't make the belief, it's not yours. You inherited.
Yeah.
So, if you made it and you believe in it, then it's yours. But if you didn't make it, and it's not yours, so get rid of it. So, yes, Kathleen.
Well, I'm just going to go intuitively here. This just came up. So like that video, which, is an advertisement, but is also for us coaches or clients of Napoleon Hill to stay positive, right? So two things, when you see Bruce Lee in that video, so my mentor that got me into Napoleon Hill sent me this not too long ago. I'm just going to read it really quick. This is Bruce Lee. My definite chief aim. I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting in 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from the onward till the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. That gives me goosebumps because he literally wrote this before he started acting. And so for them to put him in that video, I'm just like, okay, people have to know that anything's possible. They just have to want it. They just have to want that desire bad enough. And Cleona, the president of Napoleon Hill Institute and our leader, in a sense, right? Because we're all leaders.
Absolutely.
He always says, you don't have the belief right now, borrow my belief. She's like, borrow my belief. It's fine. You just take it and borrow it. And there's something to be said for that because, yeah, we don't always like in our heads think the right thoughts, but if we can think the thoughts that she's thinking and repeat those to ourselves, we're borrowing her beliefs. So there's just so much to be said for like taking on and moving forward and grabbing those beliefs in a positive energy and making them work for us by taking action, which is what we're all about.
And that leads us to the last question about masterminding, right? This is another principle that's very important about really being in a mastermind alliance. And it's essential for success because, truthfully, we are supporting each other. We are feeding each other of all the things that will lead us to success. When you surround yourself with the same, I say hard-minded, like-minded people, you're just driven to go into the direction that you want to be in. So, Kathy, would you share with us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, environment is essential. If for anyone who wants to transform, anyone who wants to grow, if you want to achieve anything that you have not yet achieved before, it's essential to have people around you that can uphold you. So the formal definition, 2 or more people who have a common goal, who want a common end, creates a mastermind. The 4 of us here, we're a mastermind. But when I think about the essence of a mastermind is that we uphold each other. Everything that we've talked about up until now, decisions, burning desire, holding people accountable. If I say to you guys, I want to change a habit or I'm creating a new belief, if you hear me talking about the old belief, you're going to hold me accountable. So it's almost like guardrails. I look at it as sort of a structure of support where we're all working toward, we have different goals, but we're all working toward the same end. We want to create something new. We want to do something that we've never done before.
Thank you. Thank you. And Diana?
Yeah, absolutely love this one too. And then through the Institute, when we meet in our study group 5 days a week, that is my mastermind. I come in there, it's always very familiar, and we're all going towards the same goal. Although we all have, in many parts of the world, as you know, different circumstances, different habits, different beliefs, some of us are in business, some of us work for a man or a woman, and that's totally fine. But when we come together, magic really happens. I take so much away from our study group every day. And mind you, I don't know if you remember about me, but when I said that I studied this year, I committed in the beginning of the year to study Think and Grow Rich for the 3rd time, reading it on my own. And I read start to finish with the guide for those 3 months. And then I was on uncharted waters of Facebook groups. And one of my mentors, Brenda Lee, just pulled me and she said, well, we have an institute. We're organized now. We have it all this for you. Well, come over and see what we have to offer. And I was like, I can't believe it. I've done it for 3 months all by myself in the morning for an hour, and come to find out that the study groups meet exactly at the same time. I don't have to compromise anything. It was absolutely beautiful. And I rely on that mastermind group so much because it's open for questions and it's open for venting at the time. It's open for, putting me in a hot seat and making sure that I am kind of in the spotlight and getting my questions answered. So I think it's just 10x's your success if you have a mastermind group. And to whatever degree you can do that for yourself, borrow ours until you can find your own, obviously, but it's a must.
Absolutely. And Kathleen, your final thoughts on masterminding?
Yeah. So it's a group of people, 2 or more, like Kathy said, working in perfect harmony to meet objectives. The objectives may not all be the same, as far as maybe one's an insurance agent, maybe one's a lawyer, but the principles that we work on every day and we put into action through Think and Grow Rich, those are the objectives. Like, we want to apply them to our daily lives, if it's career, home, friends, whatever it is, but we are applying those principles to our daily lives. That is our ultimate objectives, as like we're doing the study groups and things like that, like Diana mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And, I must say that, one, I'm very honored that you guys came on the show to share your wisdom and Napoleon Hill's wisdom with my audience. I do know that these are the secrets that have been in place for hundreds of years. And now we get to share them with the world. And it is a beautiful thing because there are so many people who don't know about Napoleon Hill's teachings. And I do know that it truly impacted my life beautifully. It changed the person that I am and the person who I'm becoming, because I'm still growing every day. And to have this peace of mind that we take this information and we are servicing people from the heart. His teachings are coming from his heart, and now we're taking it from our heart and we're spreading this information. It is a blessing. It's a blessing that we have this in our hands. So I want to say thank you so much to everyone for coming and sharing your light, your beautiful faces, and your wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi.
And thank you everyone for joining us today. And we'll see you on Wednesday on our next episode on Sparking Change with Gigi.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchange.now.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.